can't quite believe it's been nearly a year since I did my Art Supplies That Spark Joy through 2024 video, and today I'm back with an Art Supplies That Spark Joy in 2025. Hi everyone, Jane here again with another video, and today it's a little bit different to some of my project videos, but I am going to be going through the art supplies that have sparked joy for me during 2025. Now, when I'm talking about these items today, they're not necessarily my favourites, as in things that I use all the time. They are items that I will have discovered, so to speak, throughout this year, and that when I use them, I have really had that extra bit of joy using them, and they really are ones that when I do use them, I really find them a pleasure to use. That's the difference. So it's not necessarily the things I've used the most, it's the things that have sparked joy. So I thought I'd start off with sketchbooks, journals. I interchange the two. To me, they're all just books where I can fill them with my creativity. So I don't, some are sketchbooks, some are journals, art journals. They all have a different place for me. This year I've really been on a journey of looking at lots of different books to use, and I have bought quite a number, some of which may turn up in next year's video because I've bought them sort of towards the end of this year, so I haven't had a chance to discover much about them yet. So look out for that in a year's time. But these three I've picked out because they've all done something different for me, and they have all been really fun to use. So the first one I'm going to start off with is one that I've used an awful lot through my videos. Let me just check if that's in the screen. It is. And this is the Canson art book. Now it does have a elastic that goes around it like this. This is a spiral bound, and this one is actually landscape, but I use it in a portrait format because I like it flipping at the top. I'm not a fan of spiral bound books, I have to admit. I've never really been keen. I prefer stitched books, but this one is my exception to the rule and I have really loved working in this year. This has to be probably the journal or the sketchbook that I reach for the most. Now this particular one is A5 in size, and like I say, is actually the landscape version, but I hold it a different way, and it contains the Saunders Waterford watercolour paper, and I think that's what's made it so special for me this year. It has a nice hard cover, which I've enjoyed, and I've liked the fact that I've been able to just fold over and work on a page that is not too big, so it's not daunting, but it's also gives me plenty of space. So it's got, I've left this page in, I haven't written on it or anything, but I have already worked my way. I'm not going to do a total flip through because I will be doing that when I finish it, because I've worked my way through it one way and I'm now working on the backs of the other pages. So that, it has to be my number one journal or sketchbook that I've used this year. I have really enjoyed it. The paper is 100% cotton. It is 300 GSM, I do believe, and it's really lovely to work on. So that's my first one. Let's move you to the side. The second journal that I've really, or sketchbook I've really enjoyed, is a bit more expensive. It is the Etchr sketchbook, and I was a little bit wary of getting this because I did wonder if, because it was a little bit more expensive, I would feel a little bit more precious, but I decided to get over myself and once you've spent the money, you spent the money, and it's only a waste if you leave something on a shelf and you don't use it. So it's got this canvasy hardcover. It does get a bit dirty, but I'm leaving mine because at the end I may paint that. Again, it's got your elastic, it's got your what do you call these, ribbon things that I quite often cut out. I haven't on this one. And the only thing I would say that annoys me, really annoys me about these sketchbooks, is this first page where it's sort of glued in, so you don't get, it doesn't fold totally, it, look at that. So I always start on the next one, Now I've got quite a few. I've been using this for my colour studies, so if you're interested, I have a whole playlist of all these colour studies that are in here. But again, it's beautiful, 100% cotton watercolour paper. It's I don't think this one's 300 GSM. I feel it's 200 and it might be 220, 240. I'm not sure. You can look it up. You'll find it. And this size is B5. So again, it's a little bit bigger than an A5, but it's not as huge as some of the bigger ones. It's not as huge as the A4. I have got an A4 one, which I bought when it was on sale, but I find it a bit clunky to actually use on my desk. But then, of course, once you open it up, you get a nice big double spread if you want it, but it still fits nicely on the table. So that's my second book that I've really loved. And third, but not final. This, you don't get this with it. That's mine. I'll take that off. That is also a Dina Wakley one. Oops. So I just smacked my chair into the radiator behind me. This is the Ledger Journal. I don't think you'll probably be able to see the whole of this. Let me check. Let me just hold that down there. So this is by Dina Wakley. This is a reproduction of an old ledger that Dina Wakley found. So again, it's a hardcover. I do like a hardcover. And this has, if I find the pages that aren't done. So for example, here you go. So this is the sort of thing. So I know that one time I used this and I think somebody was very worried that I was using an actual old ledger. This is not an actual ledger here. This is a reproduction. So they've took an old ledger, they've scanned it, and then they've reproduced it onto, this is like a mixed media cardstock. So this is not, it's not a watercolor cardstock. It's quite a thin, it's for sort of more mixed media, but probably not meant so much for waterproof products. However, I use all sorts on mine, so it does stick because I do a lot of collage. So this is very much my mixed media-y, collage-y book, so it will stick together a little bit. But I'm not worried because it's my journal. It's not meant to, you know, it's not going on display in the Tate, as far as I know. So there you go. So I've done quite a bit in this one as well. I have really enjoyed the size of it. It's not always ideal for filming, but it's a lovely big size. If you want to work big, it's a good one. I love that ledger. I love the colour of the page. So rather than being a white, it is that really creamy, manila-y with the text. It gives you a starting point. It makes you sort of, you straight away have got something to work upon. So those are my first sort of group of things that I have sparked joy, and that is my sketchbooks and art journals. Now the next thing I have that sparked joy this year are some paintbrushes. Not the most exciting, I agree, but these paintbrushes in particular I have really enjoyed. Now last year, I think this was in my art supplies that sparked joy video. It's the Artway mop quill, whichever brush, and at Christmas I also got a set of, let me find one, the Princeton Neptune brushes, which I do really love, but the difference is these are very, very soft. They are beautiful for using when you want to do washes and really inky, well, painty backgrounds. But I do a lot of drawing or stamping, or you know, where I then want to colour with watercolour. So I needed a brush that was a bit firmer and a bit more for more intricate, delicate work. So I have got some of the Princeton Velvettouch, the same range as the same company as the Neptune brushes, but these are the Velvettouch. You can tell the difference because your Neptunes have got these black, really soft bristles, and the Velvettouches have got these tan colour bristles, and they're much firmer. Have I got an equivalent? I'm trying to see if I've got an equivalent brush in the Neptunes, but I can't. Oh, here we go. So here's the flat brush for the Neptune. That's the flat brush for the Velvettouch. So you can see the difference in the softness. That is so soft, and that is much firmer. So it depends on what you're wanting. And for me, I did want something that was a bit firmer. Now, originally I bought a set. I bought I think it had this one, I think probably this and this potentially. It was potentially something like that. It was a set of 4, and then I've sort of rounded it out with, I wanted a size in between the 6 and the 10, so I got an 8, but I got an 8 long round, which I really love, so you can see how much longer that is. And then I wanted a couple of more detail-y type brushes that for getting into those small areas, so I got the round in a 3 and the round in a 4. And I have to say, I think these, because of the way I use these brushes, these are probably the ones I reach for the very most. So these have certainly been, as well as sparking joy, I really enjoy using them. They make painting a pleasure, but they are also probably one of my favourites when I'm painting images in watercolour, because I reach for these ones, in particular these smaller ones, all of the time. Okay, moving on to some of the more colourful things that have sparked joy this year. These have been such fun. The Tempera paint sticks. Now, they are not a fine art material at all. They are made for children. They are not meant to be for, you know, using on proper paintings you're going to put in a gallery. They have no light fast information. They have no pigment information. I doubt very much if they're light fast, but they are such a good fun thing for using in things like your journals to add really expressive marks. It's a bit like a lipstick or a chapstick. It's a tempera paint, so it's a nice washable paint. This is why they're made for children, because, you know, they are quite safe for children to use, and they dry really quickly, but you can still use water with them to an extent. I wouldn't say it's not like you're able to then put them down, let them dry, and then water the whole lot out. You get some movement of colour, but you won't be able to move the whole pigment. But I just find them fun. They are a fun product. They come in such fabulous colours. I bought the brights, like the classic set, and then I bought the pastel set. Some of these I haven't kept the whole of my sets. I gave away some to a nursery for the children to use there. The colours that I were duplicates, or I gave away all the metallics because, to be honest, I didn't want the metallics, and I gave away some of the colours I knew I wouldn't use. But in fact, the ones I do love more are actually, I think, the pastels, which is surprising because I'm not overly a pastel person, but like this colour here is absolutely beautiful. And, you know, the pastels themselves are actually, I think, some of my favourite colours in the sets, but they're also great for a pop of, you know, bright, that's a pastel, it's a brighter colour as well. So, you know, they are just a really fun product to play with. Okay, keeping with colour, I have 2 lots of watercolours that I have sort of invested in this year for 2 very sort of different reasons. Now, at the start of the year, I think it was the start of this year, I had a lovely sort of half pan of colour sent to me by my lovely Australian crafting friend Sharon, and she sent me a sample, like a sample half pan of the ultramarine turquoise of Daniel Smith's. Now, it was the first time I'd ever tried or used Daniel Smith watercolours, and it started me off on a journey with Daniel Smith. I think Daniel Smith, excellent quality watercolours. So, of course, they are on the top sort of end of the watercolour scale in terms of pricing and the quality. But they have some such unique colours in their range, and I think that's where I've sort of tried to go more when I've been buying them. So I've got a set of 26, not a set, I've bought 26 over time, so I've gradually built up the collection that I have, and I've tried to go for colours that are a little bit different in some respects, so that they're not just a standard colour palette, because if I'm going to pay, you know, a bit more for the watercolour, I want them to be something really special. And I suppose that is where I find they spark the joy, because the quality of them, they're so beautiful to use, and the colours that they have some of them are so different and so interesting that's where I've gone with. So I picked a few out in the tubes, because I buy the little tubes. So I've got the, let's go turn it that way, ultramarine turquoise. This is my second tube of this one, is buff titanium. I love this for going out on painting in you know, out in the wild, so to speak. Rose of Ultramarine, stunning colour. And Green Appetite Genuine. Again, some of their greens are absolutely fascinating. So if I just move those ones across, and I'll just get this here. So this is my big palette, and it doesn't just have Daniel Smith in, but I got this because I wanted to have a studio. I call it studio, so I haven't got a studio. I've got a space on my table. But I wanted a palette that stayed here, that wasn't for travelling, and I wanted to make it all my like favourite things. So in the top here is I've got my core paints, and I've got some Rosa galleries that I got initially. And in this bottom section is all of my Daniel Smith. So this is my Daniel Smith section on the bottom half. So I picked things like Quin Gold Deep, Aussie Red Gold, Rose of Ultramarine, Ultramarine Turquoise, Cascade Green, Undersea Green, Appetite Genuine. No, is it Appetite Green? Appetite Genuine, yeah. Things like Lunar Black, which is a granulating black, Moon Glow, Jane's Grey. I had to have Jane's Grey. You know, it's Perylene Violet, Quinacridone Coral. Colours that were a little bit more outside of the usual colours, in particular for me, because I didn't want to start, like in my core paints, they came in sets. They're very much more, you know, your standard colours, like you'll get an ultramarine, you'll get a green gold, you get a quin magenta. I looked at what I already had, and I changed and added in what I thought would complement those colours, but also give me something a little bit different. So that's what's in there. And then the other watercolours that I have sort of pinned my mast to, oh, I don't know what the saying is. I have decided that I wanted to not improve, sorry, I've got brain fog, that I wanted to enlarge my collection was this Rosa Gallery watercolour. Rosa Gallery I chose because it is a much more affordable paint, as you can see just by the size of the tubes. That's a much bigger tube. It was cheaper than that tube. So if you want something that is, obviously it's not going to probably be on the same level as the top watercolours, but these are really good watercolours. I really enjoy them. I'm not a watercolour expert. I'm sure there are people out there, people like Lindsay the Frugal Crafter does fantastic reviews and comparisons of watercolours and things like that. Becca Hillburn does great comparisons. Illustrations by Pete knows a lot about pigments and things like that. He does a lot of swatching videos. So all these people can tell you far more about paint than I ever can. I just go with what I like, and that's it. You know, if I like it, then to me it's worth the money. If it gives me joy, it's worth the money. But everybody obviously has their own thoughts on that, and their own thoughts on what makes a good paint and what value for money. So you have to go with what, you know, it suits your life. And also, like, look at all these other people's videos to see what they're saying, because especially Lindsay, she's very, very fair. She's very, very she's not biased. She like looks at it very, very, I can't think of what the word is, but so these are the Rosa galleries. I got for my birthday or Christmas, I can't remember which one it was, last year. I did get the set of 12 that were in a little tin. That was the classic set, and those are the ones in here that are in the big pans, and then the little ones are all tubes that I've since bought that I've added in extra colours. And again, I've tried to have a mixture with my big pans. These were a classic set, so they're going to have all your, you know, your basics. So your ultramarine, cadmium yellow, what else did we have? Like a emerald green. What else? This one, green. You know, cadmium red light, madder red. So a split primary plus some extras. So I added in things like, again, turquoise. I love turquoise. I wanted some interesting purple. So we've got Nightfall Violet, Violet Quartz and Caput Mortem. Something a little bit more interesting. I wanted a cerulean blue because I know a lot of people had said about cerulean blue for skies and things. And since I've been this year going out much more painting outside, I felt that would be a good one to have. I wanted a sap green because I've only got a sap green in my core and I am running out of that, so that I wanted a nice tube of that one as well. I think is it that one? Is that one there? Yeah. So I wanted, so these are 10 mils I should say, and these are I do believe 5 mils. So that's the difference. That's double that basically. So I've created a palette. I tried to balance it but also have some fun colours in here as well. And so these are the two sort of brands, the two sort of watercolour sets that I have really enjoyed using this year and that I hope to use lots more next year as well. I wasn't sure whether to add these in or not, but I decided to because these do spark joy in me. I might not use them very much, but they do spark joy. And I have a feeling that these are going to be a bigger part of my creative journey in 2026, and that is pens, and particularly these are fountain pens. I think I did do a video with some of these. So these ones here are all Lamy pens. This one is the cheaper one. This is the Lamy Safari, and I got converters for my pens because I wanted to put waterproof ink in there because my idea is to be using these in drawing. So I have to say I really do enjoy the Lamy Safari, I think more than these ones. These are the Lamy All Stars, and I'm going to admit the reason I bought these two is because they were limited edition colours and I loved the colours of the pens. So this one is a medium nib. This one of these is an extra fine and one is a fine because I wanted to try out a variety of nibs. They both also got converters in. One of them has got a brown coloured ink, a very dark brown coloured ink. One of them's got a very dark blue coloured ink, because I wanted to use them again for drawing and then for line and wash and things like that. And I have done a bit, not so much on camera, but more so in my own sort of art and craft. And then I bought this. This is the Sailor Fude pen. Now this is really different. And this has got like a bent nib, so you get thin and thick lines. It is great fun. Again, I bought the converter because I wanted to put black waterproof ink in there. So I tend to do that. I prefer having my own ink in them than having to get cartridges. So this I haven't used too much. I'm sort of wanting to go out and about and use it for sketching and plein air painting. I haven't done it yet. I'm a little bit wary of taking a pen that's got ink in it in my travel kit in case it leaks. I don't think it should leak, but or maybe I could just put it in a little plastic bag, couldn't I? And also it's quite a long pen if you compare it to those. Now I have asked for Christmas for some different nibs and things for sort of dip pen type things, so I'm feeling that next year may be my pen era. But I have really enjoyed these so far, and I feel they're going to get more and more, and they do spark joy. I do love fountain pens. I didn't love fountain pens when I was at school. I hated them, but now I love them. I think they've improved fountain pens a lot, I have to say. They don't seem to leak like they did when I was at school. But that's just one more thing, and my final thing for this video of the things that have sparked joy in 2025. There's lots more products that I have really enjoyed. There's lots more products that I've used lots, and I'm sure if you go back through my videos, I've got quite a few videos now on my channel. You'll be able to see some of the things that I have really sort of used a lot during the year. Things like collage. I've done lots of collage this year. I love the Liquitex Professional Matte Medium for a glue for sticking down collage. You know, there's so many things I could add to this video, but I wanted to keep it really sort of select with what I was going to be putting in. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you have to, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed, I'd love it if you would subscribe. I have a lot of videos on my channel that are more project based. I don't do that many hauls and things like that. I do a lot of projects, so please do have a look back and see if there's things you'd be interested in seeing. And until the next time, thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.